All right. It is almost time to talk about everybody's potentially least favorite topic, AI. Oh, but it's important. We need to talk about it. So here we are. I'm going to reshare my screen with the right slideshow. Okay. Where's my share button here? Okay. So as always, this check-in is to let us know who's at this specific section, what you were hoping to learn, if anything. Yeah, just to know who's in the room at any given moment and what you're hoping to gain for today. I'm going to paste the check-in link in the chat for those of you who are being, thoughtful and not having your phones at your desk. No shade. My phone is right here. So, but if you don't have your phone handy, there's the check-in link. All right. It's 2 o'clock. We're going to get rolling. If this is your first session of our Small Press Summit, welcome. If you've been here for other ones, welcome back. You're going to hear me introduce myself again. I'm Jen Northington. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at Edelweiss. And I want to thank you so much for joining us, especially about a topic that's this heavy and important to all of us. So yeah, we're going to talk about what it looks like because I know there's a lot of questions out there about how AI is being used in the publishing industry, both in terms of creative and more logistical and operational uses. And it's important to us that you know that we're thinking about it and being thoughtful. And I imagine you might want to know what we're doing. So with that sort of intro, let's get started. All right, I already said all of that good stuff. So our agenda is to go over our promises to our customers, our current uses of AI, how we're aiming to stay true to our missions and values, and potential tools for clients. Also, just so you know that I have some skin in this game as well, I helped co-edit some anthologies that are involved in some of the lawsuits that are, going on around pirated material. So this is not academic for me. It's not academic for any of us here at Edelweiss, whatever our involvement is with intellectual property and AI. So I just think it's really important that you all know that some of us have very personal stakes in it. All of us have a professional stake in how we are going to stay true to our mission and our values and how we hope to use it to help as well as to mitigate any harm that might be happening. So our promises to our customers, we want to be so intentional. We respect copyright so much, and our use of AI tools do not and will not interact with copyrighted material on the Edelweiss site. Protecting the work of publishers and creators is non-negotiable for us. We just feel so strongly that creators should get paid for their work, and we don't want to use tools that steal from creators. So that's our first promise. Secondly, we take privacy really seriously. So, if our AI ever touches customer data, it will be done securely and responsibly. And this is also another non-negotiable for us. It's a company value. It's our parent company's value. Privacy and security are huge for us, and that's going to carry into our AI usage. And then we want to give you choices. We give all of our users the choices. If there are features that incorporate AI on the Edelweiss site, you can opt in or out. And you will know, what the AI is doing and what it's learning and how it's connected, if anything, to the broader AI ecosystem or not. There's different levels of that. Turns out I learned a lot about AI prepping for this session. So we really are going to give you as many choices as we possibly can, because we take your preferences seriously as well. So let's talk about the specifics. At Edelweiss, we are aiming to use AI thoughtfully to improve our efficiency and enhance your experience, but we are never going to replace human expertise or compromise your data. So, we want to keep the staff that we have. We love our staff. They're so smart. They're so good at their jobs. That being said, we're a smaller team, and sometimes there's things we want to do that we just humanly cannot get to. So there are resources like Veed, which is specifically a video generation tool that helps us to make help videos faster, for example. And then you get more thorough and more up-to-date help documentation, right? Our developers are also using it to speed up their technical development. There are platforms like Bolt and Cursor that can help improve turnaround and prototyping and QA on dev and technical products. So checking our code more efficiently, delivering features and product updates faster to you is something that we hope to be able to do. New features getting incorporated faster. Y'all have so many feature requests. We want to get to a lot of them. This hopefully will help us do that more effectively, and with fewer hiccups along the way. And then organizing internal documentation. We do use in-house AI tools. So what that means is we own the AI. It's not part of, ChatGPT or Claude or whoever. It's ours. It only operates internally, and it indexes and categorizes our internal process and policies so that staff can, get to help documentation or answers faster. There's no external data exposure whatsoever, and it's all internal documentation. And then supporting individual productivity, our team members can choose to use tools like, for example, ChatGPT to assist with brainstorming, drafting, or spreadsheet formatting, but none of our content is going to be solely created by an AI. That's a promise we make. It's always going to involve a human. It's a support tool as far as we're concerned. It is not a content generation tool. Staying true to our mission and values is so important to us. We talk about this all the time. And so these are our, part of our company best practices that we've distributed internally to our team members so that they know what the expectations are around using AI. So keeping it human-centered. Our mission is to support book people, publishers, booksellers, readers, librarians. AI can be a tool to enhance creativity, to streamline tasks, to free up time for the human judgment and expertise that help us do our jobs and keep publishing vibrant and use those parts of our brain that we all want to have time to use. We always review and edit. AI output is sometimes very unreliable, sometimes just a little bit unreliable, but it doesn't matter. You check it always, 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 to ensure clarity and correctness and alignment with our standards, which are high. We ask AI for options, not answers. We are not interested in, letting the AI tell us what our next step is on any project. So our usage of that is about exploring possibilities, helping us brainstorm. And then all of our final decisions are workshopped, are discussed, are collaborated on by humans, always will be reflecting the experience and insight of the book professionals that we work with and that we are. And then again, we protect client trust and data. It's so important for us to maintain trust with y'all. And we never share client or customer data with public AI tools. If we're doing anything, it's coding and in-house, and none of that goes into the broader AI ecosystem. So privacy and security are our number one priorities when it comes to using AI tools. And this is really, again, near and dear to my heart. We also have an AI ethics working group that is, staff organized and staff led, to help ensure that we stay true to our promises to you and the company and make sure we're using our best practices. It's one thing to say that we're going to do these things, but how do we make sure that we do them? So one of the things that the AI ethics working group is doing is exploring more sustainable AI solutions, like our local, privately owned documentation LLM, to reduce the environmental impact, because that's something we care deeply about. We want to help promote responsible industry standards. We, feel very strongly that licensing and regulation is so necessary for AI technologies to help ensure, that people get paid for their work and get credit for their work. And so any efforts that are going on in the industry to help with those regulatory and licensing efforts, we want to be a part of. We're actively looking for things to support. So if you know of something, please leave it in the chat. Super interested in that aspect of this. And then internally, guiding our staff best practices, making sure our team is using AI responsibly, making sure they understand the impacts and the pitfalls and the benefits of any given AI tool, and that they can use it in the way that aligns both with their needs and concerns, and with our best practices for the book world at large. And then, of course, all the buzz is out there around how is it going to be used to help you? How's it going to be used to help readers? How's it going to be used to help booksellers? Trend analysis is the number one thing that we've been hearing about, that I'm sure you've been hearing about. And using AI to spot patterns, and track emerging interests is something that is actually a thing AI can be good at, and then help people make informed, data-driven decisions. So that's something we're looking at to see what we could offer to our clients who want to use a tool like that to help spot patterns and trends. Advertising support, it's a lot of guesswork always for advertising, and there may be opportunities to help you find available placements faster, suggest optimal timing based on, again, patterns and data, make campaigns more effective and efficient. That's something that we're thinking about. Again, if you're interested in using it in that way, how can we help you do that? And then FAQ assistance. I think all of us have interacted with AI chatbots on somebody's customer service website. It will never replace customer service at Treeline, because your questions are not answerable by a machine in a lot of cases. They require a human to think about it and help you figure out the best use case. But there are certain, how do I upload this DRC? That maybe we can get you that information faster. So how can we generate plain language answers to common questions for faster support? Or if nobody's at the help desk, and you just need you need a link to a help document, how can we make sure that you get that quickly and easily? So those are some of the ways currently that we're looking at what AI can do for our customers and for our staff. I'm going to come back to you with my face for questions. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that I can see the chat a little easier.
Yeah, we have some good questions in the chat. So can you speak a bit more to how do you use AI for video creation? And I thought this was I could actually answer this.
Yeah, please.
I'm one of the people who uses Veed to help generate help videos. And really what it's limited to is we still create all the content ourselves, but we have them help generate like our voice. So and that's the voice of Shayna. Shayna is the voice of our company. So it makes it really easy for us to speedily make changes to our script as things evolve with our product. Here's a good one. Can you speak to safeguards around uploaded DRCs with regards to AI?
Yeah, so absolutely. I'm guessing, you can clarify if I'm wrong, that the concern is that somehow AI will access your DRCs on our site and steal your content. So the way DRCs work is that the information in them is only available to people you approve. That's just true. The content of those files is administered by you as the DRC admins, or whoever is administering DRCs for you. Maybe it's your distributor. And so, we have limited control over like bad actors who might be masquerading as something in order to get access to, files. That's always something that's been true for digital files. I remember I've been in publishing for a long time, and I remember all of the conversations when digital review copies first came out about, piracy and torrenting, and, those are legit concerns. But we take the same precautions for that, for AI, intrusion into DRCs that we do for that. So, there's DRM on them, and you approve who you want. There's nothing that we would use that would go have any reason to go in and interact with the content of your DRCs. Like that's not something that I can imagine are like that's not something we would ever do. Oh, we definitely will not be using DRCs to train our in-house AI. Any in-house AI is going to be looking at data or documentation. So for example, what I mentioned earlier, we have a local AI that is working on indexing our documentation so it's easier for staff to find answers and information faster to help you faster. But that's all like that's our very dry like internal support documentation or like company practices and policies. It's not, there's no reason for it to ever interact with books, for example. It's all operational information. And we're not interested in ever having an AI that we are using interact with intellectual property. Where AI is most likely to interact with Edelweiss is on the data side. So, downloads, reviews, number of, newsletters sent, what's available, or, what titles people are looking at, clicks, that kind of thing. Is what is most likely, or coding. And coding is an interesting case, because Bolt and Cursor and Claude, for that matter, are sort of hailed as like, it's code generation in the same way that ChatGPT could write you a novel. But code is interesting because it's been open source for a really long time. There's things like GitHub where people are sharing, and open source code is very normal. So the dev situation is a little bit different from the creative side, which is a good thing, I think. Most time saving and useful
A
ways
cool
that I use
question.
a personal question from Shaughnessy. Yeah, that's a great question. I will tell you, this is silly. Maybe it's not silly. The thing that has been most useful is turning old Word documentation, like a Word Microsoft Word file, into a spreadsheet. Like we have all of this documentation around things that we've done in the past, or like offerings that we have, but I can't interact with it. I can't sort, I can't group, I can't, filter. And I'm a spreadsheet person. And so saying, hey, turn this list into a spreadsheet with these columns is so fast, and so easy, and I could do it, but it would be a lot of copying and pasting into cells. So that's like for me personally, that's the number one way I am using AI. I think that that's very unique to me, though. I don't know that that's, maybe the most helpful answer for other marketers, but using it sort of as an intern, an office intern, where it's like, okay, you have a very limited knowledge set, but you can do this thing that's otherwise a copy paste problem. Go do that. Okay, title descriptions, analyze things like topics, keywords, themes, etc. Galaxy, that's a good question about how that information would be used. We don't have any of these products developed yet, so can't say for sure. But certainly that is an option in the same way that our search accesses title description. So, the Edelweiss search is looking for keywords and data and, metadata stuff to pull up when somebody's looking for, cookbooks about sourdough. That's what's going to surface. So it's the same information that would be utilized by a search that would be potentially utilized by an AI. And again, that's speculative. So this is not under development right now. But we're not trying to use anything that's not publicly available, let's say. I think that's the way I want to say it. Like things that you are actively saying about your book so that people can find it easier. That's the kind of information that we would maybe be leveraging. Our search is going to get better, side note. We have some really exciting stuff coming with search. It's not an AI search. It's just faster development aided by some AI coding, but we're really excited about an updated search project that's going to happen. No other questions? Anybody want to talk about what they're using it for? I mean, it's an interesting question, what is the most, like for people who are using it, what is the most helpful uses of it? If anybody wants to share that, or we can talk about, why it's important to pay authors. I think you already know the answer to that, though.
Mm. We got some seconding spreadsheet usage.
Yes, PDFs into spreadsheets. It's a game changer. I'm actually taking a prompt course because I want to ask as few prompts as possible and have it give me the right information. And because that saves on, sustainability, how many times I'm querying the database, and then I get better results. And so I'm of the opinion that educated use helps mitigate harm. And like I said, I'm personally aware of that. Let's see, data transfer. So we are using private license ChatGPT. So none of our data that we're using is being transferred to the external, it's not being used for learning. Additionally, we have in-company rules that if you're using AI to do spreadsheets and stuff, it can't have customer data in it. So it can have anonymized data, or, like I'm using it to like, okay, here's a list of book list themes that we've used over the past 10 years. Can you show me, can you sort of sort them out for me, see which ones we've repeated? But we internally are making sure that, when we're using it, it's private. Our staff are using licensed versions that are not used to train anything. And there's no customer data in there.
That's fun.
Yeah, fully using it for trying to figure out how to use Edelweiss. I mean, legit. Yeah, that's well, hopefully soon we'll have some more help for you there. Yeah, Kelsey talking about browser results and how they all come up automatically. It's sort of inescapable now. There's nowhere on the internet that it seems like it doesn't pop up in some form or another, which is, we can all have our own feelings about that. And for some people, it's really useful, and for others, it's really invasive. And everybody hopefully gets to set some boundaries and guidelines for themselves. But we just wanted to make sure that our boundaries and guidelines are really clear to you. We care about IP, we care about regulations and licensing, and we care about customer privacy. So, all right. It seems like that's all our questions. I do have a link to our AI at Edelweiss page. It's a QR code because we love our QR codes here. And there it is. And we can also drop it in the chat. It's on the marketing site. Oh, thank you, Gabriella. That's our update. And we'll keep that updated as, things change as needed. But yeah, you've gotten the highlights versions. Thank you all so much for coming. If you've been with us all day, you're awesome. So appreciate it. Regardless of how much time you've been here, we really are so glad that you came. This is a new sort of educational effort for us, and the response has been so wonderful. And we'll definitely do more of this kind of thing. Like I mentioned, we are going to do more small press mailers for promotional opportunities in the future, and we'll try to make sure that we continue to offer small press specific education. So thank you all so much. Thank
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.